It's fantastic.
Say that again?
It's fantastic.
Yes, it is. Guys, I got it. Ready? Yeah.
Even though they're Marvel's first family, some of the most iconic and memorable characters in Marvel Comics history, the Fantastic Four can't ever seem to get a good movie off the ground. Now this year, we're finally getting a new Fantastic Four movie in the MCU, directed by Matt Shakman. I could not be more excited for this movie, and we just got the first teaser trailer from Marvel Studios, so today we're going to talk about my thoughts on the trailer, what it means for the future of Marvel Studios, and a brief history of the Fantastic Four in the movies, because it's actually pretty hilarious how much trouble they've had getting a decent movie off the ground. So, hello, my name is Eli Hollingsworth. Welcome back to my channel, and let's go ahead and talk about the Fantastic Four. In the early 90s, there was an attempt to maintain some rights and fulfill a contract by Roger Corman about the Fantastic Four, which resulted in a $1 million budget Fantastic Four bootleg movie that was never officially released, but there are some clips of it on YouTube, and you can find it somewhere in some bootleg version. It's pretty funny, and the movie itself is pretty abysmal, with terrible special effects. And Roger Corman, being famous for directing B movies at the time, made something that was truly, peculiar. Definitely not the way to start off an adaptation of comics characters as the Fantastic Four that have been iconic and memorable for decades at that point. Pretty lackluster. And luckily, it wasn't officially released, so I guess technically it doesn't count. But in 2005, Tim Story directed the Fantastic Four, starring Chris Evans, weirdly enough, and that one did pretty well. The movie has like a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, so not great in terms of reception by the fans, but did a decent and well enough job at the box office, and even garnered a sequel, The Rise of the Silver Surfer, which did pretty much just as well, but did not get as well received by critics on Rotten Tomatoes. So at that point, the Fantastic Four was kind of delayed and pushed off until we got the Josh Trank movie in 2015. And this movie pretty much ruined the Fantastic Four's reputation forever.
Say that again?
Yeah, that's where that's from. Close to the movie's release, Josh Trank said that he made a version of the movie that was really great, but we would never get to see it. And 20th Century Fox, the studio who held the rights to the Fantastic Four at that time and was producing the movie, clapped back and assumed various cases of misdemeanor and erratic behavior from the director Josh Trank on set, which led to one of the greatest controversies in filmmaking history. This movie was an absolute disaster, and it showed with the amount of money it made at the box office, which was all right, but definitely not well received at all, with a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody hates this movie, including myself, because when you watch it, the first like 30 minutes are actually pretty good, and then the whole rest of the movie is just an absolute mess. It's like incomprehensible. It's not even clear what is supposed to be going on or even what is happening. It's really bizarre to watch the movie just fall apart before your eyes. So in terms of these comics characters that have been around for a while and have had much support in the public eye, to have these movies be nowhere near the level of awesome that the characters are in the comics as Marvel's first family is a little bit disappointing. But that movie really tainted the reputation of the Fantastic Four for 10 years. Nobody was wanting to make another movie about those characters after seeing the public reception to Fanforstic. That is until 2022, when John Watts, the director of the Spider-Man Homecoming trilogy, was announced to be attached to making a Fantastic Four movie in the MCU. And then, after a few years went by, he dropped out of the project, and then he was replaced with Matt Shakman, who's the showrunner for WandaVision. And now he is directing this new Fantastic Four adaptation. And then there were casting rumors. It was rumored that Adam Driver would be playing Reed Richards, and Margot Robbie would be playing Sue Storm. There were so many different casting rumors and discussions and things that were going on. There was a lot of talk behind the scenes until finally last year we get the casting announcement for our Fantastic Four in the MCU. And just recently we got the first teaser trailer ahead of its release in July. So now we're finally here. After all this trouble, out of all this backlash and controversy, we're finally getting a Fantastic Four movie in the MCU, and they dropped the first trailer. And I think it looks pretty great. It's this retro, futuristic, kind of 60s aesthetic. The Fantastic Four takes place in 1963, as we learned from a magazine that was in the casting announcement. And it looks promising. And this movie is big because it has to fix the public perception of the Fantastic Four in the general public's eye. Like, it's been tainted. It's been ruined. And this movie has to restore that badge of honor that Marvel's first family has had for a long time, up until just very recently. And it's a big, big movie because it also sets up the future of the MCU. This movie is going to take us into Doomsday and Secret Wars, because there are some slight rumors that Reed Richards' children are going to be in it, as well as Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. So basically, if you want me to sum that up for you, this movie's big. It's huge. And the trailer looks to be very promising. The music is scored by Michael Giacchino, who is the composer of Spider-Man: Homecoming and plenty of other classic movies. The Batman. He's a great composer. And this is Marvel's answer to Superman as well. These movies are releasing like within 10 days of each other. And it's going to be insane because we have a big Marvel blockbuster, the Fantastic Four, who haven't been in the theater for 10 years, going up against Superman, who hasn't gotten a proper film adaptation since The Man of Steel, I would argue, which is to this day my favorite Superman movie. But I'm super hyped for Superman. And it's going to be interesting to see this box office battle between Marvel and DC. But the trailer itself, I think Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards is good. He's a great actor. I haven't seen fully the charm and charisma that Reed Richards usually has in this short trailer, but I'm sure he'll be great. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm was also a good choice. Ebon Moss-Backrack as The Thing shows a level of emotion in this trailer that I really appreciated, as we're kind of dealing with the consequences of fame, because the Fantastic Four have already outed themselves as, famous astronauts and as superheroes at the point that we see in the movie, at least in the trailer. And they're kind of dealing with letting all these people into their personal lives. And it's set in a completely different universe than the MCU, by the way, not the Sacred Timeline, which means the chances of this universe getting destroyed by the end of it are pretty high. But they're kind of in this alternate universe, and we're getting this kind of examination of the consequences of fame. So there's that emotional core that you want to see in a Marvel movie or in a superhero movie in general, where we get the stakes, and even though there's superhero action and visual effects and crazy things going on, there's still some heart and at the center of it with family and love and connection, and that's what we're there for, right? So it's going to be about this family, Marvel's first family, really tying into that idea, as well as the fact that in this universe, I guess they're like some of the only superheroes around. And even though it's 1960s, it's a very futuristic aesthetic because it's an alternate universe, I guess, where technology has advanced more. So it's a cool aesthetic. It's Matt Shakman who did WandaVision, who, although the finale of WandaVision was pretty underwhelming, the rest of the show was a really cool idea. It was a really cool aesthetic. It was a really cool premise and concept. Even though the way it played out wasn't the most satisfying, there were still a lot of elements of it. I blame that on post-production and behind-the-scenes drama, by the way, not on the actual show. So I think Matt Shakman, as the director, shows a lot of promise in bringing the Fantastic Four to life in a way that's going to be interesting and cool, has a lot of heart, is a very interesting premise, and in a way that is satisfying and does them justice for once in their existence in the movie theater. And also Galactus is the villain. Hopefully he's not going to be a cloud like he was in The Rise of Silver Surfer, which was really underwhelming because he's a huge villain in the comics, Galactus. He's the destroyer of worlds. So he's probably going to destroy this world, if that's my guess. But the visuals look cool. The colors look vibrant and much like that 60s kind of vibe that they're going for. It's a very cool way to give it a visual persona that's unique to this movie, because a lot of the MCU movies, the colors kind of blur together, but this looks unique. It looks like it stands out, and it looks like it's going to have a lot of heart as well, in terms of how the characters interact. And we get Herbie in the trailer. Like that's a strange choice to include in your first teaser trailer for the movie, is the scene where they're cooking dinner for each other, right? But it shows the family aspect that we're going to see. The Fantastic Four is really, there's a connection and a bond between them. And it's really strong and really powerful that goes beyond their powers that they were gifted with. They really are friends and, more importantly, family. And they have a bond that connects them much more than their superpowers. And I think we're going to get that in this movie. And that's something that really has kind of been missing, I think, in the previous adaptations. We're going to get this scientific aspect of these characters. Because really, first of all, Reed Richards mainly, but all the rest of them really, too, are smart. They're very smart. Ben Grimm is smart as the Thing. Sue Storm is smart as well. And Reed Richards is a brilliant scientific mind. And also, we're getting rumors that, yes, Reed Richards' children are going to be in it. Him and Sue Storm have kids that are super important to Secret Wars. And although they weren't in this trailer, I think they're going to be in this movie. And we're going to see how that plays out. And who knows, maybe even Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in it. So that's exciting. Lots of exciting things to look forward to with this Fantastic Four trailer. I thought it was great. Let me know what you thought about the trailer down below in the comments. And are you excited to see the Fantastic Four potentially get a proper screen adaptation in 2025? And are you excited to see this one or Superman? Or are you going to see both? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.